So Darwin, the reason why we went in that direction is because you made that ridiculous claim about people not being able to have children, and that was my pushback, right? And I was just telling you what real life is like. I do think that people should pull themselves up by their bootstraps and whatever, all that bullshit, right? I understand that you should work harder. People should be spending time with their children more and making sure that they are behind them and learning and everything else. And all of the solutions, right? Every single one of the solutions, I believe in. I believe in working hard. I believe in merit-based rewards, right? All of that. But what I'm saying is that there's a reality. And as people get better, then they're just going to up the standard. If we talked about, like, if you're looking at like the dating market right now, I think that men have gotten better in most aspects, but the curve is so high right now, and the fact that we're in a deregulated dating market, it just seems like the carrot is always in front of you, right? So there's always those averages, and what an average person was able to do before, they can't do right now. If you were a janitor, you were able to provide for your family. You were able to have a house. You didn't have to live in an apartment or nothing. You can't do that shit now. That's all we're saying. It's much more difficult. The bar is higher. It's set up to where you pretty much need your lady to work too. And that's what happens in most households.
Well, the question is, why do you need a lady to work? The numbers, you have to look at the numbers.
Because under 17% could afford not to. Everybody who we interact with on a daily basis, the people at the grocery stores, the people who are doing your oil changes,
using an average, so you're predisposing the can't.
These people will always exist, right?
Instead of what Ms. Taken's saying is look at the issue. Whenever a woman comes into a man's lifestyle, what can we argue that's happening? He's not saying, hey, come into an existing lifestyle where I'm already paying all the bills. No, what's happening is, we need to move into a bigger home. We need more square feet. We need more rooms. And that is causing them not to be able to afford that lifestyle and live paycheck to paycheck. And then they're adding kids.
When you have children, let's say you have a boy and a girl, do you think that how many bedrooms should you have?
First of all, how many bedrooms should I have? I think it's how much money I should have first before I start picking a bedroom. If I'm not earning enough, why am I picking out a house with bedrooms if I'm not even earning enough? I think that's exactly what we're doing. We're starting to pick out a fucking bedroom and square feet before we even level up our salary to compensate for the kids. Sort of like what Willie said. I think he said 12,000. I'm not going to argue with him on the numbers. I don't agree with it. But he said an extra 12,000. I think what people are doing is they're going to go get the house before they get the extra 12,000. Am I wrong?
Well, that's
Darwin,
stupid,
can I
right?
ask you something? If you're asking, right, you're saying that not to have kids, delay having the kids, right, until you're in a financial situation where you could take care of the entire family.
I don't think you should delay having kids.
Right?
I think you should have kids
young.
You
would have to based on that
financially, so you can have them young.
Darwin, hold on. So if a man doesn't typically get to where he needs to get in his financial stride to do that, he will say that he's in his mid-30s at that point.
Oh yeah, you're a loser then.
For women, for women, waiting that long to have kids is going to create a shorter time clock, right? And so when you're doing that, you're limiting maybe the amount of kids you have, because she or you as a man may have issues, right? Quality of sperm depletes, her eggs are deplete, right? So my thing is, what is wrong with what Mott was saying, and which is what most people do? Why can't you have two incomes and build together, which helps you
because it's failing
put you in a position to have kids?
No, it's not.
At a more healthier stage of life,
okay,
especially
so that's
for
a different conversation. If both of y'all can go and earn enough to be able to sustain the lifestyle, then go ahead and do it. But I know what's happening. What's happening is they're not able to sustain it. Most of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. And if your wife quit, or if she get fired, and y'all got to downsize the lifestyle. I think that what they should do, if they're going to both work, is live under only one salary. You get what I'm saying? But if
I'm making 30, and let's say he's making 30, right? Say like I'm making 30 and he's making 35.
Y'all should
So
live under
that gives
35.
us a substantial amount together, right? Of
No,
65,000. 65,000 for us together, that gives us enough where we can have a kid and maybe take
No,
care
it
of our
don't.
kid. But when
no,
he's
that's
only
not how that
making
math
30,
works.
when he's only making
You should
35,000,
not be having
he would
kids at
never be in a
35K.
position
One of y'all, both of y'all
where
making
he's
35K,
able to
y'all should not be
financially
making
take
kids.
care of the household on his own.
Yeah, but the problem is taking that's not how the math actually works in real life.
How much you
It
think you
doesn't
gotta
make
pay
no
in
it
daycare?
doesn't make no
It
sense for
does,
you to
because I
go
was in
out.
that situation when me and my husband first met. That's what I'm saying.
No,
I
no,
literally looked
no,
at my old stuff.
no. Miss Take,
And
what I'm
that's what
saying,
the point I was making. You're not accounting for inflation. We literally
no,
raised our son on, I was making 28 and he was making like 30.
no. So
And
what we
so
trying to
putting both of
Miss
our
Taken, just
incomes
because
together, we were able to raise a child. Not one child, but two at that time.
hold on, Miss Taken, we understand you survived something, right? Just like I used to get my ass whipped. That doesn't mean I'm gonna whip my kid's ass just because I survived it. What we trying to say is that in today's time, 30,000, that was making 30,000. She got to spend that extra 12,000 for her. So she's not actually making 30,000 because now you're taking away 12,000 for childcare because both of y'all are outside, right? So now
That's
what it comes
what I
down
was
to.
telling you. The
And then you got to
community
put
part
gas,
is important.
and then you got to put in lunch. You got to add so many things. You going outside to work is taken away from the family because now not only my child is not getting the love and care of the mother. Also, we gotta pay. Your salary is going to be used to pay for everything for you to go and work.
No, Sharon,
So
she
your
said
salary,
her
your
mama was
30,000
helping.
is really about like $10,000.
Sharon, she said
But
her mama
Sharon,
was
that's what I
helping.
was
That
just telling
changed the
you
whole
when I was talking
conversation because
about
most people ain't got
family in general. I
most
told
people
you
ain't got
that's
another
why
set
the
of hands.
community part is very important because you're not having to pay out all of the money that you're talking about. I had a community. And that's the key part that's missing. Back in the day, like with my grandparents, my great grandfather lived up the street. My grandmother and grandfather was there. The neighbors were there. Everybody took part in the community of raising the kids, and then we moved away from that, right? So what I'm saying in my situation, I know it's not, well, I'll say it's not for maybe most Black communities.
What do you do when your parents say?
The reason why.
What do you do when your parents say we don't want to help y'all no more?
Family unit or a community helped. So I didn't come out of my pocket with all of those expenses.
Right, but the issue is that is the same reason why we in the situation today, because the grandparents got tired of doing it. They started saying raise your own goddamn children, because guess what? The grandparents kept getting younger and younger and younger because young people was taking advantage
grandparents was still
of the
raising
fact
their
that they
kids.
had. Right, so they was taking advantage of the fact that they was having kids. So now grandparents,
kids older.
Everybody here on this panel is a grandparent's age at this current moment. We are grandparents now. That's the difference. Grandparents is not 60 and 70 years old living off of retirement and they're just at home just doing goddamn gardening and mowing the lawn. That's not the new grandparents anymore. Grandparents, we still playing basketball. We still got our own careers. We still want to travel. Majority of people that's in a 45 to 50, which is normal grandparent age, they travel in the world. They ain't got no time for their goddamn grandparents. I mean, for being their grandchildren.
Just got out of the house. So you think they're gonna go sit back in the house to raise your kids while you at work?
That's because they had kids at 16. We're not talking about that.
Okay, so now, all right. So now let's bring it into reality, Mont. So that's what Darwin's trying to say. So if we could get young men to start understanding that you can take control over your life earlier. So as soon as you hit 18, so from 18 to 28, that's a 10-year time span. If you focus on career, by the time you hit 28, you should be able to take care of your family, because what's happening is that men are waiting till they 30, and then now they got their 10-year career. Now 30 to 40, most men are starting their family at 40 because they waited so long to be in a career. So Darwin is correct that we could get a financial plan early then we could start families early, and then we could get back to having some kind of understanding that everybody doesn't need to make $1 million to take care of a family.
No, Sharon, you went from one side of the spectrum and jumped all the way to the other side of the spectrum, from 28 to 40 years old having a kid, right? Like I didn't. You did.
So let me clarify before you make your premise.